Welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we teach future Survivor players how to play the game by criticizing current players. Today, we are talking about Survivor 49, Episode 4, Go Kick Rocks, Bro. I'm one of your co-hosts, Josh Wessler, joined today by my bros, who can also kick rocks, Derek Kubicek and Ryan Stacy. How are you guys doing?
You know what? That's fair. I don't know. Kicking rocks is kind of fun, so I don't really know what that means.
I think the whole idea is go be busy with something else and leave me alone. I'm trying to be productive. So it's not a bad thing to kick rocks. It's just you are being a nuisance to me.
Go away.
So go kick rocks. And I agree. I mean, who didn't kick the friendly rock down the road? And then, if you lose it, your friend is supposed to kick it and keep it going. And whoever lets it go, you go, boo, boo, Wendy.
Especially if it goes down the sewer.
Yes, classic.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined to say something like, go play in traffic or something like that.
Don't you have some trouble to get into?
So, guys, episode 4. It was an episode of Survivor. I guess last week they spoiled that it was going to be a tribe swap, so we know that. So that was what this episode was. I think we can safely say that. And that's what happened. And I got nothing else to say until we get into spoilers.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add, just because of the way this episode broke, or the way that this twist broke, the suspense was kind of over early for me in this one. Generally, I knew what was going to happen after it happened. Josh, anything?
Not really. It was a very straightforward episode. Like Ryan said, we knew that it was going to be a tribe swap. And the fact that, we kind of knew it was going to be between two people fairly early on. And I like my tribe swaps where there's a nice little whoop-de-wop involved. It's like, oh yeah, this is the obvious vote. And then that's not what happens. This was a pretty easy, like, hey, there's a majority, couple people on the outside. It's going to be one of them. Cool. We could just fast forward to the end because it's going to be one of them.
Yeah, this is what I would call average baseline Survivor. Survivor gives us two people that are going home. Here's some reasons for person A. Here's some reasons for person B. And then we go to tribal. And so that is average baseline Survivor, which is good Survivor. It's just baseline Survivor. So a very perfectly, totally average episode of Survivor, I think, in the end. But I did notice, we went from 3 tribes to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't done that in forever. I don't think we've done that in the new era.
We have not done that in the new era.
So when is the last time we've done that? Let me think for a second. Co-wrong, I think, is the last time we've done this.
Gotta say, I liked it.
Yep. It's a little refreshing. It's nice to just have 2 tribes.
Yeah, and let's just get into spoilers so we can talk specifics here. So if you haven't seen the episode, here's your chance. 3, 2, 1. With regards to the swap, I can't believe production kept the Kale tribe.
That's funny.
Are you kidding me? You handed out blue buffs after what happened? No. Don't send anyone to that camp. Come on.
I'm guessing it was scripted that way, and that, they're not going to play favorite to a specific tribe just because it has a bunch of supplies, or, because they want to put people in bad situations because it could be funny. Just like Jeff said, the plan for season 49 was to do a tribe swap at 14. We got to 14 earlier than we expected, but we're at 14, so drop your buffs. I'm guessing that Kayla was just the tribe that they're going to put people on no matter what.
Yeah, I'm not sure. In the past, it's usually the tribe who loses the first immunity challenge that is the one that will get eliminated if they go down to 2, but that's not the case this time, so I don't know. Maybe they thought it'd be funny. I think it's a little disrespectful to original Uli for doing so well, but it's disrespectful but funny.
It's funny, but I still think it shouldn't have happened. So I'll take the joke for today, but thinking back on it, yeah, if I'm Uli, I'm irritated.
Yep.
Why does Uli get annihilated by production and Kale gets permission and reinforcements? No, sometimes you just have to let the Survivor God speak. I think this is bad juju.
But hey, so again, we're in spoilers. They win.
They do. They do. Congrats to them, I guess.
So maybe Sophie B is the problem all along.
It was always Sophie.
All right, you guys ready to get into the episode proper?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Something I didn't note last week in the episode, I realized it afterwards. So Jake had been the left shoe bandit all season, and then he gets bit in the foot and leaves, which I find ironic. But at the beginning of this episode, we still have a shoe thief on the loose. The ocean is going to steal Sophie B's shoe.
I was thinking about this as well. And I thought about that foot snake bite. If he had been wearing shoes, he would have still been in the game.
The whole theme here.
Yeah, I don't even think Jake realized that there's just something about shoes this season, I guess. I'm going to pay attention to this.
It's the shoe line of the episode.
Stupid. No, Josh, that was stupid.
Stupid. She's gonna get it back later, just like everyone got their shoes back from Jake. But will anyone else lose their shoes this season? But we're gonna go apparently to what appears to be the reward challenge, but it's not. It's a tribe swap. Jeff is gonna actually tell us the little peek behind the curtains. Like we said, there's gonna be a swap at 14. We got here early. We're swapping. So there is a script they got to follow for legal reasons. So, new Hina tribe. Matt and Jason are staying here on Hina. They are joined by Rizzo, Jawan, Nate, and Savannah from Uli, and poor Sophie B.
Well, I mean, Sophie would say, yes, thank you, anything but Kayleigh.
But we're going to keep Kayleigh alive. Poor Alex is stuck on Kayleigh. He's going to be joined by Steven, Christina, MC, and Sophie S. from Hina, and then Shannon and Sage from Uli. So those are our two new tribes. So we're going to do the thing where we go back and get to know everybody. Again, just kind of standard stuff here, except one thing. One little a pimple zit we got to talk about.
Yeah.
So, okay, Sage is going to tell us, like, hey, A, this will explain everything about me. B, you'll think I'm a psycho. She keeps and collects blackheads, as in the zits. And now I've heard of people who like watching those like pimple popping videos, which I think are gross, but like that is a very common trend. But people who keep them, that's insane.
It's insanity.
This is insanity. So last week, we have all this sympathy for Sage. We learned like she couldn't really keep friends and ate lunch in her car in high school. Was she telling them about her blackhead collection in high school? If so, I get it.
If you routinely are not able to keep friends, throughout different stages of life, there might be a reason. I'm just gonna say.
I still feel bad for Sage if for all of that, but if that's the reason, yeah, I get it. I'm sorry. Sage, big listener to the podcast. I don't want to be friends.
Look, any good person out there, right? And emphasize on good, deserves a certain level of acceptance and understanding and social bonding. It becomes harder when you're collecting blackheads and you're talking about it. You know what you do? You become a dermatologist and you never tell anybody about that. That's one of those things that, like, maybe a fifth date kind of thing, but certainly not right after a tribe swap. One time I went to somebody's house and they had a little jar of fingernails on their nightstand, and I never hung out with them again.
What the hell?
Yeah, it was like one of those little like honey, I don't want to say like a honey jar, but like really small, like glass jar, and it just had fingernails in it. And I was like,
I've heard of that before.
Huh. That's interesting.
Why?
So I finished my beer and I finished the night, and then we all went home. I kept that one to myself. I never told anyone.
Oh, interesting.
I did hang out with that person in group settings, but we never really got closer. And it wasn't because of that. It was just like, that was the first thing, Anyway.
That adds a wrinkle, because you said I finished my beer, which means that you were at least old enough to, I don't know, care about drinking a beer. I was expecting this to be like an elementary school or middle school.
Oh, no. It was the summer after senior year of high school, and it was not a legal beverage.
Still old enough to be weird. It'd be weird no matter what, but that's an old enough age to where having that a jar of nails, it's an odd thing.
Well, and also I'll say it looked like they'd been collecting a while. So anyway, there you go. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, listeners. And for listeners who collect your fingernails, at least put them in the nightstand so that your guests can't see them.
And for listeners who collect any part of the body, don't. Just don't. Don't. Please, God, don't. It's disgusting. Look, I'm a fairly open-minded person. I like to think, you can approach me and tell me something kind of crazy, and I tend to not be judgmental about it. But then eventually there's a point where it's like, no, that's nuts. That's nuts, and I don't know why you do that, and you shouldn't do it. So don't.
That said, props to Sage for having the personal rule of transparency and honesty to share it, you get respect points, but it still's a little weird. It doesn't offset the weird. I'm just being honest.
I'm not even going to give her props.
No, I'm not.
I would
Like,
even
this
maybe
is
say that
something-
this is a bad move.
Yeah.
No, from a Survivor standpoint, this is a horrible move.
I would be so grossed out. I would never want to talk to her again. I would, because it's Survivor, but I'd be like, can we please just get rid of her? I don't want to be around her. That's so gross. So yeah, horrible move. I've lost my appetite. I was kind of hungry, but I'm not hungry at all anymore. I don't want to eat anything ever again. Oh my God. Gross. Over on Hina, Sophie is going to end up joining the Uli 4 here. They bond and click super well, so Sophie's basically adopted into this group. Great for Sophie. Excellent job.
Well, and honestly, great for old Uli as well, because it takes a 4-2-1 to a 5-2. That is much less precarious, because now, if you want, you can split votes.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about, was there an extra vote flying out there that could be a problem, or steal a vote even.
And Sophie B is going to tell Savannah that Alex had the idol and played it, so this brings them even closer. So yeah, we'll see how this goes for them. But it looks good so far.
Yeah, good on all parties involved in that new
Yep.
5-part alliance.
Over on Kaylee, Alex's plan is just go with the flow, whoever wants him. That works. Just make sure you're bonding with everybody and make sure you give people the opportunity to come to you. So we didn't see it. I'm sure it happened, but yeah, that's important.
You bond with everyone, but you definitely need to lean more toward original Hina in this circumstance, and don't get caught scheming some goof stuff with the Uli members who got swapped over there.
They don't have the numbers for that.
Yeah.
So Shannon is going to spend this episode really trying to bond with people over faith. She's very spiritual. There's a lot of spiritual people on this tribe. So, for example, her and Christina, they get really close. But Sage is going to tell us that Shannon is talking a lot more about this now that they're on this tribe. She's like, this feels performative. She feels like she's using it to bond with people where she normally wouldn't. It seems to be working. But Sage and Steven both see through this, what Shannon is doing. Can I just say, I would hate being on this tribe so much. I think I'd rather be on Kasaya than this tribe. I think I'd rather deal with Shane and Courtney and Danielle and Aris over this tribe, because I think I'd get along fine with like Alex and Steven, but and maybe Sophie S, but I don't know about the rest of them. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't want to be on this tribe.
Well, and it's not even like the religious stuff either. Like that's being performative, I think can come in a lot of different ways. Before she even was leaning into that more, like it came across as inauthentic and performative to me, just the way that she would be interacting with people. Like, it's like she had trained herself to respond to people in specific ways for when she was on Survivor. Just the way that she would respond or ask questions. And I know that seems like it's really nitpicky, but when you do it in an authentic way and the other person is paying attention for it, I feel like it stands out. And once you start to get rubbed the wrong way, it's hard to not focus in on something like that. So if I was talking to Shannon on the island and she's just responding to me and interacting with me in that way, it'd be hard for me to take her seriously.
Yeah, performative religion and performative spiritual stuff kind of drives me nuts, so I'd have a really hard time with that.
I'm not going to pile on too much. I think the edit does her a bit of a disservice. It keeps showing us these mindfulness practices on the beach, and it keeps showing us people giving them slight side eyes. Today it was Alex. Oh, this is what we're doing today. But it seems to be working for some people, but you have to be aware that, okay, MC is Steven's number one, and Sage is seeing you throw her under the bus indirectly. That's 3 people out of 7 who are already onto you and actively against you because of what they see you doing. By very nature, it must be divisive then. Maybe Shannon's better play would be to blend in a little bit more than what it seems that she's doing with her social approach after the swap. But I don't know. Maybe it works for her, maybe it doesn't.
So over on Hina, Savannah's going to talk to Jason. She wants to, bond with these people who are on the bottom too, just in case, which is great. You never know what's going to happen. We get another tribe swap and you're stuck with Jason again. And Jason's pitch is basically like, hey, I'm really close to Hina, but like I can help in the future and we can, avoid their votes. And it's not very compelling. It just kind of basically sounds like, oh, you're going to keep working with Hina. And everybody's just like, he's so loyal to Hina, and basically he can't let go of Hina. So that's bad. You got to be flexible in this game. And somebody pointed out, I can't remember who, might have been Jawan. He's going to point out, they never even voted together. That's a great point. You have no idea where the loyalties really would have ended up going. So yeah, you gotta be a little more flexible, Jason.
And I'll say Savannah in that first confessional, and granted, we never know at what point these confessionals are taking place. It's probably somewhere in this, 2-day span, right? They try to keep it contained there. I was saying, okay, he's trying to express to you that he's close with these other Hina members, which means that if you keep him, he can give you options going forward. However, the more he continued to talk about it, the more I was getting the same vibe as Savannah and the rest of original Uli were getting, that, oh no, he really is just committed to Hina, and he's saying, do what you feel you need to do, which, okay, he's honest. You know where he stands. We've seen this happen, though, as recent as 48 in a certain respect, but like someone who's not in power necessarily. Tim on 46, that's what got Green in trouble. So, Jason, you like Ryan said, you got to be more flexible. Hey, we're in the here and now. One thing I will say Shannon did very well was when she said, my survivor journey has led me here to be with you right now. That means that right now I'm playing with you. That is a beautiful answer as long as you're honest about it.
Yep. And that's the mentality you got to have. Like, obviously keep your old connections in mind, but they can't really help you right now. You got to focus on the here and now. They can help you again maybe in the merge, but keep all avenues open. Matt's going to reveal that before he worked at the airport, he used to be in finance, and Savannah wants him out because he's clearly he's a sociopath.
Yeah, he didn't get to go into much detail as far like all I heard was that he was a branch manager for a finance company. Broker. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's kind of high up, but like I didn't get the feeling that it was like, oh my gosh, Matt's, this big head honcho of a thing where he would have to like take advantage of people to get there and be a sociopath in order to get there. I didn't really get that vibe. It felt like it was more so just like grasping for literally anything to throw someone under the bus. People will use anything that they can on Survivor, so just keep that in mind. I don't think Matt did a great job of managing this conversation. Like he almost made it seem like it was something to hide when I don't think it was.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but like I think I do agree we gotta get rid of anyone in finance.
Yeah, totally. I don't know exactly where or what Matt's specific position was, but I can tell you that in terms of the corporate hierarchy, branch manager is not that high. I mean, I don't want to demean it too much. I'm just saying, like, when you're talking about the finance hierarchy, it's not that high. Because you've got division managers and regional managers, and then you've got like people who oversee certain products and divisions, and you go up like 10 ladders usually on these corporate and militaristic vertical hierarchies, and branch manager is like third from the bottom. I don't know, but I will say he left and has been working at an airport for 11 years, so he obviously wasn't enjoying what he was doing too much. So, I mean, I don't know. I agree with Josh. I think Savannah was just looking for a reason here. Yeah, there's not much, I think.
Yeah, I barely would have brought it up, but the fact that it was finance made me laugh. We have a finance guy here.
I was like, oh no, do I need to hide my job? I'm like second from the bottom. But I mean, I guess I got to start hiding it too.
Don't get promoted.
No, yeah, just that's the rule. Don't get promoted until after I play Survivor. That seems fair.
So we're going to go to the immunity/reward challenge, and Jeff's going to show off, like, we got a reward. It's a big pile of fruit. And Sophie S is not happy because she's like, that is diet food. I would eat that if I was going on a diet. We're on Survivor. I'd like protein. And everybody else is like, no, Sophie, shut up. We'll take it, Jeff. And I'm like, no, I'm with Sophie. I don't want no stinking fruit while I'm on Survivor. I don't really like fruit very much except apples and I guess strawberries, but like everything else is kind of trash. And I'm like, dude, just give me a steak.
All of this fruit would look so good though. Like good fruit is so good. So like I would totally take this right now. I would take that right now just sitting here. I would also prefer, some protein like a steak, but don't bite the hand that feeds you, Sophie.
Oh, dude, it's
you
funny.
don't have to be just, perfectly content and just bowing down to Jeff Probst and the Survivor producers. Like, I'm not saying do that. I thought it was actually kind of funny. I wouldn't have said this. Anything to make you stand out like that. I'm
I
not a
think
fan
this.
of.
I think this early post tribe swap. This is a bad move. That said, my only addition is it almost sounded like Jeff was willing to move on this a little bit, because at the end of this little chat, he kind of asks a question. He goes, "Worth playing for? Not worth playing for," which is normally what Jeff says. This one was more of like a worth playing for. Like, oh wait, was he moving? Was he moving off his spot?
Well, let's rewind the clock all the way back to Borneo. Once upon a time, the reward was not worth playing for, and the contestants refused to do it. They weren't going to do it for a beer. And so they ended up getting like pasta and a trip to production camp to watch the first 5 minutes of episode 1 of Survivor instead. Now, if this was just a reward challenge, I would have been like, not really. I mean, if the rest of the tribe wants it, sure. Does someone need to sit out? I'll sit out. I don't care about a pile of fruit. But yeah, I thought it was funny, and I'm like, I agree with Sophie. As I depending on the circumstances, I might have said something similar. But again, it was an immunity/reward challenge. Who cares about the reward? You're here to win immunity.
The other problem is in Modern Survivor, they've been here 6 days.
Yep.
Like,
And in Modern Survivor, there aren't a lot of food rewards in the pre-merge, right?
I mean, they've gotten fish before. I'd much rather have fish than fruit, for sure. I really don't like much fruit. Like I said, I like strawberries and I like some apples. If it is a Pink Lady apple, I'm in. Most of their apples are kind of garbage. Most of their fruit, kind of garbage.
I'm with Josh on this one. Fruit is delicious.
There's not much good fruit.
Hard disagree with Ryan on this.
Most of it's just too mushy.
The closest thing Ryan likes to fruit is cheesy Fiesta potatoes.
I literally said apples and strawberries, so no. How about like fruit flavored candy? That's the good stuff. How about a box of like blue Mike and Ike's?
Yeah, blue raspberry Mike and Ike's. That's the closest thing Ryan likes to fruit.
Berry blast Mike and Ike's.
Sorry,
sir.
Excuse me.
I'd rather do a reward for a box of those.
Forgive my indiscretions.
You should.
How dare I?
Yeah, you should. You should feel bad. You should know my favorite candy, Derek.
I know it's blue Mike and Ike's. I don't know the actual name of the flavor.
You can call yourself my friend. So Kaylee is going to win immunity, mostly because Matt kind of screws up. He does the hero portion of the balance beam section, is bad at it. So he puts Hina way behind. They can't get caught up. Kaylee wins a challenge for the first time. Sophie B does not.
Hooray!
Also, why did everybody suck at the puzzle portion at the end? Like, I know that it's physical
stacking portion
to stack it, but like the entire time I was thinking to myself, stack 6 big blocks, put the 10 little blocks on top of it, and then very carefully as a group, lift the big blocks and slide blocks underneath it.
Yep.
Or just all the small ones. Like, keep all the small ones together and just...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, stack those up and then do the big ones underneath by lifting them up.
Or
I see what you mean. Like, do the big ones and then all the little ones at the same time.
Yeah.
What you do is you have like someone who's sitting on somebody else's back on their shoulders. You have 2 pairs of people doing that. That way you have 4 hands and one person lifts them up, the other one puts new ones in. That's the way to do it. They were not being efficient.
It was hard to watch.
It was stressful. It was a stressful challenge. I liked it.
I thought Shannon was going to go booty over tea kettle, honestly. I thought she was going to fall. And by the way, Christina, respect that you dedicated this challenge to your mom, but those are heavy blocks. Don't kick those over and get injured for this. That would have been
embarrassing.
We all want to be Michelle Fitzgerald. This is not the time to be Michelle Fitzgerald.
Yeah, you want that tower to be shorter than you when you do that.
Yeah, and less heavy.
So, Hina's going to tribal council. They get back to camp. Rizzo is going to tell Sophie B about his beware advantage. They've lost. He's got to go get his idol, but he's going to tell Sophie B about it. And, when Rizzo told his entire tribe about this beware advantage, I was very critical of him. We all kind of were. I'm okay with this because everyone and their mother knows about this beware advantage. Anyone could tell Sophie B about it. It's better if she hears it from you. So if you have something that is so well known and you want to bring this person in, it's better if she hears it from you. You dug yourself the hole. You might as well bring somebody else in with you.
Yeah, I agree. Work under the assumption that somebody else is going to tell her. So you might as well use that to your advantage and use it as a way to connect with her, assuming that she's going to be here, hopefully for a while. When you're both in the post-merge, maybe this is something you can look back on that you bonded over.
Yeah, I think of this more as the analogy. Rizzo has already set sail. He's at sea. And on the ship of the knowledge of this idol. There are 4 people on this boat, including himself, and they have stumbled across Sophie B adrift in the ocean, and they're coming up on a potential hazardous situation. They're going to have to deal with some pirates. Those pirates are named Matt and Jason. You need as many hands on deck as you can get. So this is a chance to toss the life raft. Hey, welcome on to the ship of knowledge. We are going to make it. We are going to finish this voyage.
And that ship of knowledge is power.
And
I hate you, Josh.
Rizzo's the one who pulled her aboard, and that's a bond.
Yes, there's something there.
But the Uli tribe's going to work together, and Rizzo is going to get the idol, so he gets his vote back. So basically, the toss-up is Jason, who seems closer to original Hina. And then when they talk to him about potentially like, hey, would you be willing to vote out Matt? And Jason's like, I would, but I think I'm just going to play my shot in the dark. And his thought process is they're less likely to vote for me because it's dangerous. I'll play my shot in the dark. Bro, they can just split. It doesn't matter. Like, this is such an ill-conceived move from Jason. That doesn't help you at all. No, you got to enthusiastically be on board and be like, you know what? I'll get rid of Matt if I have to. If that's what you guys want to do, I'm in. It sucks, but that's what we got to do. He's holding on too tight to the past.
And it's hard because one thing that I'm picking up about Savannah is she thinks that because Matt was a branch manager that he is duplicitous. Maybe what Jason is trying to get at, I'm not going to turn on somebody just because you're telling me that I need to. Jason should have played better with his assimilation game up front, but now that they're in scramble, I understand if you think that Savannah's going to try and use that against you to try and just be as honest as you can. And it does work for him. I still don't love the move. And I think what you're saying is right. Like, you need to say you're willing to do it. You could just say, like, I don't want to have to vote out Matt, but look, I see what we have to do tonight, and I really want to work with you guys going forward. So whatever we need to do, I am on board. Thank you for including me.
That's it. That's the answer.
No notes.
Matt is going to go a different route. At first, he throws out maybe Sophie B as a possibility, but that doesn't really go anywhere. So he decides to move it to try and target Nate, because Nate is the leader of the Uli Alliance. So he's got a plan. He and Jawan went to the journey together with Jake. So they've met before and they talk. And at some point along the way, Jawan told Matt that he felt he was on the bottom of Uli. And so Matt's gonna be like, you still feel like you're on the bottom of Uli? And Jawan says yes. So Matt's like, okay, how about this? You, me, Jason, we pull in Sophie B, and we can take out Nate. Then you're not on the bottom anymore, and we're on the top. That sounds like a great plan to me. If you're on the bottom of the Uli tribe and you want to change things up, that sounds like a great plan to me. But then we get a confessional from Jawan who's like laughing about it. And so Jawan is gonna at some point told Matt he was on the bottom. Was that true? Did he actually feel like he was on the bottom, or was that just something he said? Does he believe he's not on the bottom, but he actually is? Because Savannah's going to tell us, yeah, he's kind of on the bottom. So Jawan's weird. Where does he think he is? I don't know. Is he delusional?
I think he thought that he was on the bottom when he went on that journey. And somewhere in between then and now, his view of how he sits within his tribe or within his alliance has improved. How much, I don't know, but I don't think he thinks that he's at the bottom, at least anymore. So I think that this is a great attempt by Matt, just because it's the right read, and it's I think the best bet that he has. Maybe he could have argued for Jason instead of them turning on, one of their own instead. I don't know, but I thought that, using that information, and as like much of a sliver of a relationship as it was, they still interacted previously, and going to Jawan, I thought that was a good read, at least on his part.
I thought so too. Jawan just confuses me.
I think depending on when this confessional was taken, Jawan might be fully understanding that Sophie is in deep with Nate and Savannah and Rizzo. And if she's already too deep in, why would Sophie ever step out of that, betray people that she's already built a pretty strong bond with? And I'm guessing that Jason and Matt didn't do a great job building bonds with Sophie. We already know that Matt is a little bit of a recluse when it comes to social situations, a little standoffish starting up. I said that after episode 1. And Jason seems to be the kind of person who's more reserved at the beginning, but will open up once you get to know him. Those are not great for immediate situations post-tribe swap, especially when those are the two that get swapped into a minority situation. Jawan might have just looked at them and thought, that's a sinking ship, just to stick with my ship analogy from earlier. If that's the case, I agree with Jawan. But if Ryan, what you're saying is right, and he truly does feel at the bottom, now is an okay time to try and do something if he's not aware that Sophie's in deep with those other three. But I think the case is that the plans were already made.
Yeah, if that's the case, if Sophie B is already in, Juwan doesn't have a choice. I would have loved a confessional explaining that.
Matt, don't necessarily go to Juwan and say, let's do Nate. If you still feel like you're on the bottom, is there any target in original Hina that you would like, or sorry, in original Uli that you would like us to go for tonight? If he says a name, cool, you can run with that. You can even maybe go rat him out to Savannah and Nate. If he gives you a name, you can decide which way to take it from there. And if he doesn't give you a name, then you can pitch Nate as your last ditch effort or something. You know, I don't hate the fact that Matt has a plan here. It's just the execution and the reasoning feels either mistimed or misplaced.
I'm glad that you said that because I was going to say the exact same thing. That opens up so many more doors than just tossing out Nate, because it's so easy to just agree. Yeah. And you kind of let Juwan off the hook instead of putting him into a bad spot. Either, you know, any of those situations that you said. Even if he doesn't really give a name back, then you know that that's probably a dead end, and you can maybe try for going for Jason instead. So I think he was close, but not as effective as what he could have been.
Yeah. Better yet, go to Savannah and say, hey, I just got back from a talk with Juwan. He says that he's on the bottom of original Uli, and he says that you've been excluding him. I don't know if you want to do anything with that information. Obviously, I'm desperate tonight, but I can be a number to help you get rid of Juwan tonight if you want. Like, I'm just saying, you have options. Yeah. You just have to hold Juwan's feet more to the fire if you feel you've got a read that he is, in fact, on the bottom.
Yeah, Matt had a good read, but his execution wasn't great.
Right.
Could have been better. But anyway, the majority five, they're going to split between Matt and Jason, with Matt being the primary. Savannah and Rizzo would both rather take out Jason because he's more cagey, whereas Matt, he's just like a little more obvious, I guess, as they're going to read. Like they know what Matt is, where Jason is just holding back. So that's kind of their thought process. At Tribal Council, it's very funny. Matt says, I'm not going to throw Sophie B or Jason under the bus, and Nate's like, but you did earlier to me. You said either one of them as long as it ain't me. And Matt's like, that's not throwing somebody under the bus. And yeah, you know, whatever. You can have whatever perspective you want on that, but I did find it very funny that Nate immediately is like, you did though. Another factor I noticed, Sophie B's going to go up and she's going to vote for Jason. And she's chanting, Hina, 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 while she's doing it, because that's what Hina always did when they came in. So maybe don't do that whole thing, that the tribe chanting thing. I think it comes off as like you guys are closer than you might be. You guys seem like a more cohesive unit, and that's threatening to people. So maybe don't do the tribe chant solidarity thing. It puts a target on your whole tribe's back. Seems like Sophie B remembered that.
Hey, look, if 5 people are chanting Hina, I'm going to be chanting Hina on the way in because I got to get through tomorrow. But you better believe if I get swapped onto another tribe and someone brings it up to me, or I'm getting like everyone hates Hina, I'm going to be like, you know, I'm not really in on that whole Hina thing. We all understand this is an individual game, but I mean, hey, you know what? We had to get psyched up before the challenges.
I think if I was on their tribe and it's like, let's do a war chant, they're going to be like, no, let's not. How about that? I would try and not let that happen. A, because it's cringe, as somebody said. I completely agree that it's cringe.
I think that was Juwan.
I completely agree with Juwan. B, it puts a target on your back.
I think it might have been Rizzo, actually. I don't know. Whoever did it, plenty of people.
It's very cringe. I gotta agree. But anyway, so we're gonna vote. It's gonna be 4 votes for Matt, 2 votes for Jason, 1 vote for Nate. So Jason votes for Matt. Great call. Mm-hmm. Matt votes for Nate. Bad call. But yeah, we're gonna lose Matt here. Whether or not this was the right move, I'm not really sure overall who's better between Matt and Jason. It really, to use the word of the season, it really comes down to vibes. How do you feel? Who do you think you can maybe work with more? Yeah, it's really hard to say.
I said yes, just because between the two, Matt was a little bit more like wild card-y, and it'd be a lot harder to trust him, I feel like. Whereas you know where Jason stands, and I don't remember who it was, but someone like kind of described him as a little cagey, and I think that's fine, and you know that he's going to be loyal to Hina, but Matt, you know, tossed out Sophie's name, then he tossed out Nate's name. Like, he's going to keep trying to, you know, do something. He wants to work with you, but only because it's of his own interest and not because he actually wants to work with you long term. Jason doesn't want to work with you just because he has better options later on, but at least you know that from him. So I think that Matt was the correct option. Either could have worked. I would not have been upset with either option, but I think Matt was perfectly fine.
Josh, I think you convinced me. I think that's a really good reasoning. I think Matt is just a more dangerous offensive player.
I'm usually on the stance of get rid of the wild card.
So coming immediately off the episode, I'm with Josh. Matt was the one who was trying to galvanize troops and get things done, and he threw out the name of someone who is in original Uli's alliance. Okay, so on that front, I thought Matt was the right move. And then I thought a little bit more about what Jason did, because I don't love that he was like super duper Hina strong and basically said, look, do what you need to do. I want to be here tomorrow. I'm playing my shot in the dark tonight. By saying he's going to play his shot in the dark, he almost guarantees that a split vote is going to go 3 Matt, 2 him. He did not play his shot in the dark. 4 votes Matt. There was no way Jason was going home. So to get him through tonight, there was more to that strategy than actually ended up getting articulated in the episode. And I applaud Jason for that. The problem is the way that he played it. He's 100% the next one to go if this tribe loses again. Well, actually, no, not 100%. He can maybe try and build off the Juwan angle from earlier, because I just checked my notes. The only person that original Uli ticks off by voting out Juwan is Sage. Who cares? So I think it's the right move for everybody. Jason had a better defensive game plan for this particular vote, but it didn't help him earn any new bonds. Maybe he felt that was hopeless, but I just wanted to point that out, that it was a little tricksy of him to do that.
You're right, but I think you're giving him too much credit. I don't think it was intentional. I think that was accidental. My opinion of Jason's strategic game dropped immensely in this episode. I'm like, I don't think he's got a great grasp on the game. That's kind of what I was picking up.
Well, even if that's the case, I'm going to give credit for circling the right answer on multiple choice. Jason, big fan of the podcast. Let us know. Did you threaten the shot in the dark strategically to make sure that a split vote situation ended up in your favor to guarantee that your hinky vote on your former ally kept you in the game? Because that is tricksy, and I like it.
Let's get into best to worst player of the episode. Josh, start us off. Who's your best player?
This is kind of tricky. I went with Sophie B, just because I feel like she assimilated really well, but it was almost a bit of a walk up for her. I don't think she really had to try too hard in order to get that to happen. I'm going to take what they're saying at face value and just assume that yes, she's part of this tribe now, and that she wouldn't be, the next one out, or even after Jason, next one out after that. There might be some cracks that could form, and she might not even be one of the next 2 people to go on this tribe. And I think that that's a lot to do with her social game. So I'm going to go with Sophie B here. Honorable mention to Nate, just because he got out Matt, who tossed out his name instead of going with other people who wanted Jason.
I'm going to go with Rizzo. He told Sophie B about his board advantage. He got the idol, and he was part of the group. They correctly split up Matt and Jason. They made the right move. I know he wanted Jason, but he was still part of the group that did it, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Josh, but only lightly. Really, I love what Sophie B and original Uli did, but I think if you look at who advanced their game the most this episode, it's Alex and Sophie B, but just because Sophie B had more stakes this episode, I'm gonna lean her. But yeah, honorable mention to Rizzo and all of the old Uli for sure.
Worst player, I'm going to give mine to Jason. He's way too attached to Hina. I don't like that he said he was going to play a shot in the dark. He did vote for Matt in the end, which was good, but I think Derek is going to give him more credit than I'm going to. So Jason's my worst.
So I'm going to qualify this. This is a really weak give. I don't think anybody played particularly poorly. At the top of the episode, we said, based on these swap numbers and the way that Kayleigh got decimated originally, it was always going to be Uli versus Hina. I'm giving it to Jason only because he was playing it cagey. I do think there was some intent behind saying he was going to play a shot in the dark and then not doing it, but you can still play a better social game given the spot you were swapped into up to that point. You can even say, I'm building bonds with you guys. I'm going to vote with you guys if you want me to. And then if the scramble starts and then you want to say, I'm thinking about playing my shot in the dark, but if you guys tell me to vote Matt, I'll vote Matt. you can get some credit there. So giving it to Jason for being cagey, but I do give dishonorable mentions to both Shannon and Sage. Sage for her very quirky social strategy.
That's polite.
And Shannon for her accidentally divisive social strategy that has two people very suspicious of her, and then the links of the other people who are in original Hina that will side with those people. So dishonorable mentions to both of them.
I also had Jason. I don't really think I have too much to add on to what you guys said. I'll just kind of put an emphasis on the social game. When you're one of only two people that seem to be the obvious targets, like looking at this tribe, if I was actually on it, Sophie B, I don't think is even an option just because it doesn't make sense to get rid of her right now. So I would have to assume that it's going to be either, if I'm Jason, it's going to be either me or Matt. So I'm going to really lay it on with the social game as much as I can. And it just didn't really seem like he was trying that hard to do that.
Let's get into who's going next. Derek, kick us over to Hina. We just saw them go to Tribal Council. How is it going to keep going?
Oh, wait. I think Jason goes next. You could convince me that it's Juwan, just because, again, the only person they lose in this situation is Sage, and I think Sage is very highly likely to be the first to go if the other tribe loses. So if the other tribe loses and Sage goes home, maybe then Juwan leaves in this situation. But for right now, let's just stick with Jason. He's clearly too Hina strong to take any further if you're them.
Yeah, I have Jason.
Easy, Jason. Easy. Something crazy would have to happen. Josh, take us over to Kayla. What's going to happen there?
It's either Sage or Shannon. Going into the episode, I would have 100% said Sage, and I did. Even last week, the Sage was my prediction just over everyone who could be the person to go out next. I'm gonna switch it to Shannon. I don't know how. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but somehow the breadcrumbs that we got in this episode from Sage just kind of mentioning the inauthentic nature of Shannon, I think is gonna pay off. So maybe we're going to see a little bit more that leads to that, but somehow, some way, we're going to get to Shannon on that tribe.
I was thinking, I was kind of thinking along the same lines, but who is going to push for who? I could see Steven pushing for Shannon. I could see Sage pushing for Shannon, but I could also see Christina and MC pushing for Sage. I'm going to go with Sage.
Yeah, I'm with Josh, and actually, I'm going to reference something that I deemed based on confessionals to be a poor move earlier in the season. So we've got Sage, who's absolutely willing to burn Shannon at this point for being inauthentic and kind of throwing her under the bus. We have Steven suspicious. MC is Steven's number one, so I'm going to assume that these three can be in on taking out Shannon. MC warned Sophie S earlier in the season that she might be on the outs. Well, those two of those people who had her on the outs got swapped to the other tribe. This is a chance to make a new core and to vote out a threatening Uli, who's a little more manipulative. I think those are the four, and that's all you need to get rid of Shannon. So extend that olive branch, and it'll be at least those. So I have Shannon as well.
Now, I would like to ask that we get rid of both of them in the next episode.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Let's get rid of Sage and Shannon right now. I'm very cool with that. All right, let's get into who cannot win this game. Last week I had Sage. I'm sticking with Sage. She's not winning.
Yeah, mine's still Sage.
I'm going to stick it with Christina. I just don't have enough information to really switch to anything else. It's more so just, again, not seeing, other than her conversation with Shannon, I just haven't seen her really do much in this game.
Josh, blackheads.
Yeah, we're going to advance to the finale. I don't think that matters.
Blackheads, Josh. What more do you need?
It's gross, but if she played the best game, I'll still give her 1 million.
Whatever, man. That's a I don't know what to say to you after that one.
It's more so I've had Christina for the last 2 episodes. This is the 3rd. It's more so I just don't have enough information to change that right now.
I respect Josh's approach because, Ryan, he's got as many who can't win this games as there are players in a season. So
literally, I'm on my 2nd.
I know, but I'm going off history here.
Yeah, off history, because unlike you guys, apparently, when I get new information, I change my mind.
We do, but we didn't. What did Josh get new today from Christina to get him off of her as the who can't win?
She has a positive edit. Sage is talking about blackheads and collecting them. Like,
Sages also has part of an edit that is identifying when someone might be inauthentic. That could be just having a good read on someone's social game.
absolute bonkers. I don't understand you at all. Okay, last thing we got to do is we got to check in with the survivor pool. Josh, give us the update.
So last week, Ryan had picked Shannon, Derek picked Rizzo, and I had picked Alex. All three of us are safe. We cannot say the same thing for 3 of our listeners out there. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wow, what? That's a lot of people picking Matt. No, actually, nobody picked Matt this week. We just had 3 people who did not get their pick in. First time this season that has happened. It's bound to happen. I get it. But unfortunately, Angie, Jeff, and EHS Luther, I'll go with that, unless it's all one name. All 3 were not able to get their picks in. So sorry, but that does mean that you're out.
Try again next season.
Yep. Thanks for playing. So yeah, who wants to go first for this week?
Yeah, so for my survivor pool pick, I'm picking someone who I also like. I don't think will win the game. I don't know if they'll be a pre-merge boot, but I think they are safe for now. Christina. I think now is as good a time as any to pick almost anybody in those majorities. Juwan was a little too rich for my blood, so I kind of went with like the next, in my opinion, least safest that are among these core groups, and I thought that was Christina.
I also had Christina. I wanted to make sure that I chose someone from the new Kaylee tribe, and just kind of like looking at what the breakdown of the tribes would be. I don't see her going home this next episode. It feels like she's pretty safe. I think the only options are really Shannon, Sage, maybe Alex. So I went with Christina. Also, I don't think that she's going to be going super deep in this game unless she's like a 0 vote finalist or something. But we'll get her out of the way now.
Christina, I'm so sorry. You seem like a nice person. I really want you to go home. Just so I can win this thing. I'm going to go with my strategy for the season has been to follow Hubicki's law. We were given 3 names the next time on Survivor, and I picked 2 of them already, being Shannon and Sage. And I do think that could be a war where one of them goes home and they're just setting up the war. It's not one person saying one name. On the other tribe, it is Savannah's the one saying Juwan, so I'm going to go with Juwan.
I think that's I think that is the most risky pick, but you know what? I respect it, and I did consider it strongly, Ryan. I feel like you deserve to know. You've picked Shannon and Sage, huh?
Yep. So
wow.
So my
that's looking great right about now.
Ryan's full list from beginning to most recent is Christina, Sage, Shannon, and now Juwan.
Wow. They're all still in, but
the only one of us who has picked someone who has gone home so far is Derek. Derek picked Jeremiah.
Well, I guess I'll take that small win, but I've also now used Rizgod, who has an idol, which I don't love, but it got me through the swap, and I'll take that.
I am out of original Kaylee.
That's funny. No, I'm feeling pretty good. I think my picks have gone well, and Hubicki's law guide me. Definitely a law.
Yes. Yeah, not a hypothesis.
All right. That is episode 4. Josh, I believe we had a question.
Yeah, so as always, if you have any questions, feel free to send them in on Spotify, and we will talk about them on the podcast. This question comes from Claire on Spotify, who asks, when Sophie said, I think you should save your idol for the merge, when she was talking to Alex last episode, she said that she was certain it was a bad move and Alex would then target her. Was this a good move, or did she just get lucky? Obviously, it's relationship dependent, but how would you advise generally?
Well, if we go back to the Amanda Parvati situation from Heroes versus Villains, if it's a sketchy, cagey situation, and someone you can't 100% trust tells you to play your idol, means don't play your idol. And if someone tells you don't play your idol, play your idol. So I agree that on paper, that might not be the best move for Sophie B. Again, relationship dependent, how close are these two? But yeah, I think in general, on paper, in a vacuum, I would say that was a bad move for Sophie. If I'm Alex, it'd make me trust her less. To be like, okay, you want me to save my idol, not play it, you're going to take me out.
I think in that situation, Sophie B, what she needs to be doing is saying, Alex, if you're comfortable telling me what you're going to do with your idol tonight, just let me know. I'm not voting for you tonight, but I understand that you might not be able to believe me when I say it. I think going in and being as forthright as you can is the best thing that you can do if you want that person to trust you. It's not necessarily how you frame that up. It's just what earns you the most trust. And again, this is an on-paper statement. I agree with Ryan. Depends on how well you know them. How close are you? If it's Jason and Scott from Karong, they know that they don't have to play that idol and the other person's going home. But in this case, Jeremiah and Sophie B were actually closer, so yeah, it's a risky thing for Sophie B to say something like that.
I think in general, like if it's your like number one ride or die, that's a different story. But in general, don't tell people to play or not play their idol. I think the good move is to just be like, do whatever you makes comfortable. It's your call. It's your idol. Leave it to them. And then you can operate either way you want, whether you want to take them out or not. But don't tell them what you think, because that can have the exact opposite of what reaction that you would like. So don't open that jar. Now, like JT and Steven can probably get away with that. Like if Steven tells JT, hey man, don't play your idol this time, I think you're okay. That's different. But just in general, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like all three of us are in agreement. And I actually remember when we were watching the episode, the second that she said that to Alex, I got a little nervous. I'm like, oh, is he going to turn this on Sophie? Like, is he not going to trust her now because she said that? So I completely agree with you guys. I would not even ask at all. I would instead phrase the question more so as like, do you know what you're going to do with the idol, or what are you going to do with the idol? And just kind of leave it in his hands to really say whatever he wants. He could say nothing. He could say everything. I wouldn't really tell someone what to do when they have that.
Okay, were there any other social media things?
The only other thing worth noting is one poor participant last week on Spotify. Jake was their survivor pool pick, and Jeremiah was their winner pick. So that was a real wombo combo of an episode for them. Thank you for sharing. We'll commiserate with you, as we've all had bad seasons like that, but I don't know that I've ever had an episode quite that bad.
That's a rough one.
That's rough.
Okay, guys, that's another episode. Anything else, social media wise? Anything?
Keep reaching out with your survivor pool picks, any questions that you may have, general feelings that you have about the season, where you think it's going to go from here. We're getting notoriously close to the rank downs, jank downs, dank downs, and the lank downs. So just be thinking about it. We do it usually after the merge proper. We'll probably do it just after the merge because, lately we've been doing a merge with extra steps. So
yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, but just start to be thinking about that. But again, thanks for all the engagement.
All right. Cool. Anything else, guys?
No, that's it.
All right. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.